Skincare doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it's actually really simple to get glass skin. So there are some products that will make a world of a difference, but there's also a lot of gimmicks when it comes to skincare. So what are the products that you actually need? Let's start off with the most obvious one, which is a cleanser. This is quite literally the bare minimum essential for every guy. Clean off your face every morning and every night. And I'm really emphasizing at night because throughout the day, you're outside, you're probably touching your face. No matter how careful you are, at the end of the day, your face is gonna be a little bit dirty. So lather up and wash it off. In fact, the proper way to do it is starting off with lukewarm water, getting your face all wet, then applying a cleanser to your hands, and then just get to work. But when I say get to work, one thing to keep in mind is the harder you scrub your face, that does not mean that it's going to be cleaner. The skin on your face is sensitive, so be as gentle as possible. Let the cleanser do the work. Then once you're done, rinse it off with a little bit colder water, and then you're done. It's pretty simple. Now, as far as the cleanser that you should get, this all depends on your skin type. And there's really 3 categories that you could fall into. There's dry skin, oily skin, and then there's hybrid, which is actually what I am. So if you're a combination of both, you're probably gonna notice that your forehead and like this T area, that's gonna get a little bit oily, and then your cheeks are gonna be a little bit dry. For me, I really notice it kind of more towards my jaw. For some reason, this just gets really dry, especially after a cleanser, because this is gonna strip your natural oils, which is why the next product is so important. And that is a moisturizer. So this is something that every guy gets lazy and just forgets to do. And that is a great way to age like milk. Especially if you're on the younger side, you're gonna think that it's not that important, that you could just forget to do it. But over the years, you are really gonna notice that leaving your face dry and unmoisturized is just gonna make you get wrinkles. It's just gonna make you age poorly. So I like to get a daily moisturizer that I could use every morning and night. The brand that I use for skincare is The Ordinary. That's just because they make really good products for a very affordable price. Like I mentioned earlier, there's lots of gimmicks when it comes to the skincare industry. One of them being is just having a crazy markup on all their products. And I just noticed The Ordinary is just one of those brands that has a very fair price tag, and their products are actually good. Especially when I was getting into skincare system, I went straight to Walmart or any drugstore and picked up the cheapest option. That arguably made my skin even worse just because the products were just way too harsh, or the ingredients that were supposed to help were just severely underdosed, and therefore I didn't really notice much of a difference. And yes, there are ingredients and products that are built specifically for your skin type, but look, even if I gave you the best recommendations, sometimes, depending on how your skin is, you might need a different brand because you need different ingredients or you need different dosages of certain things. And obviously, I'm not a dermatologist. This entire video is just things that have worked for me. And the brand The Ordinary is definitely one of the brands that did work for me. Another brand that I do like is Tiege Hanley. I won't lie, that is a little bit marked up, but it is a good brand that has good ingredients. And again, it's just definitely worked for me. Now, a good alternative to a moisturizer is beef tallow. This is something that I do use a lot, especially for those of you guys who don't like chemicals and just want to be as organic as possible. Beef tallow is definitely the move. And going back to that one from The Ordinary, I really like this one because it has hyaluronic acid built into the formula. And don't let the name scare you. Hyaluronic acid is a great ingredient to moisturize your skin and make sure that it is very hydrated. Now, the next product is a non-negotiable and is one that you have to use every morning, and that is a good SPF. Again, some brands have this built in, but most of the brands that have this built in straight into the moisturizer is, again, just underdosed. I try to stay around 50 SPF. That way I know that it's working properly. And one thing that is very important when it comes to an SPF is to try to make sure that it doesn't have a white cast. That is genuinely one of the most annoying things when it comes to most sunscreens. This is gonna make you look like Michael Jackson. It's definitely something that you should look out for. The brand that I've been using is Anua. Hope I pronounced that right. This is a Korean skincare brand. This doesn't have a white cast, feels fantastic, and let's be real, if anybody knows what they're doing when it comes to skincare, it's definitely Koreans. All right, this next one by no means is essential, but this is one thing that has made a world of a difference, and that is under eye masks. Look, for some reason, I can get a great amount of sleep, but I will still have some eye bags, which makes you look tired, making you less attractive. So I picked up this one from Amazon. I use this whenever I feel like I really need it, especially in the mornings. I leave this on for about 15 minutes, and it's just one of those products that makes a world of a difference. Now, I'll be honest, when it comes to extra serums, this is where it can start to get very gimmicky, but from my personal experience, there are some serums that definitely do make a difference. So if you really struggle with dry skin, one recommendation is hyaluronic acid just by itself. This is gonna be higher dosed, which is great, especially if you need it. This one's actually only $10 from The Ordinary. I use this quite often, especially the places where I need it, which again for me is just around my cheeks. And another great one is niacinamide. This one I use at night. This is supposed to even out your skin, making it more firm. And it's just another great serum that definitely makes a notable difference. All right, so when talking about skincare, one thing that we cannot forget about is the skin on our body as well. I know there's a ton of you guys who struggle with back acne, and for me, this comes from time to time. And truth be told, it is quite simple to get rid of. I noticed that when I start to get back acne, it's for one specific reason, and that is just waiting too long to shower after I work out. I know it sounds a little bit gross, but let's be real, we're all kind of like that. Sometimes after working out, you just don't don't feel like showering, you say you'll do it later, but if you do that enough times, you probably will start to develop at least a little bit of back acne. So getting a good body scrub, ideally one without parabens. Some people are against fragrances, but there's some brands that just have a subtle scent, so I don't mind it very much. In fact, it could actually help you smell better. This is the one that I picked up recently. To make it work even better, I'll put this on a silicone scrubber. I just get to work. The one that I was using before this was a coconut oil one, and since that one's the one that I use the most, I definitely love that one. And an underrated recommendation is getting a bar of soap that has a texture on it, because this is going to give you some sort of exfoliant. So especially when you're dealing with back acne, that is something that I use from time to time. If you want to know the one that I use, it's from Dr. Squash. Now, when it comes to exfoliating, I would say only do this 2 to 3 times a week, because it can get a little bit harsh. And if you irritate your skin, it's just going to make you break out more. And trust me, I know the feeling, especially if you are absolutely fed up with acne. I know you just want to get in there. You want to scrub it all away, but let's be real, that's impossible. It takes time to get rid of acne. So best recommendation is just don't stress, just do the right things, and eventually you will start to clear up. Now, that being said, it is important to note that sometimes, especially if you're younger, you could buy the most expensive products in the world. Sometimes it's just purely your hormones. So that could be the root cause of your acne. Or another thing that not enough people talk about is your diet. Always eating processed foods and just extremely greasy foods in general, you are just asking for inflammation, for bad skin, and cleaning up your diet, I would argue, probably made the biggest difference when it came to my own acne. And this is really important stuff, because preventing acne is the best way to get rid of it in the long term. And one thing that every guy forgets is cleaning your sheets, because if you don't clean your sheets often enough, your sheets are going to get oily and dirty, and sleeping for 7-8 hours on top of this, that bacteria is going to get on your skin. It's going to make you dirty, overall just causing acne. So I try to do this about twice a week. Just throw it in the washer. It's not that hard at all. In fact, I even recommend having 2 sets of sheets, so that way you are always good to make sure that your sheets are clean. And even better, getting some better fabrics when it comes to your sheets. The ones that I have are bamboo sheets. I absolutely love these. You could also look at linen sheets. Some good affordable ones are from Quince. Not only are these way more breathable, way more comfortable, they're just better for your skin overall. Now, another thing that you can start paying attention to is drinking more water. Just being hydrated overall is going to make sure your skin is healthy and nourished. So if you're not drinking enough water, that could be a root cause of your acne. And just in general, this is going to make you healthier. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be drinking enough water, especially if you are struggling with acne. And the next thing you do is just calm down, because stress is going to make you have more acne. Especially when I was on the younger side, I was stressed out about my acne because it's just so frustrating to look at in the mirror. Trust me, I get it. When I was younger, I definitely had my battle with acne, but stressing out about it is only going to make it worse. It's going to inflame your skin. You're going to break out. And I know how hard it is to not worry about your skin. It will clear up. Again, sometimes it's just hormones, so you just have to let it pass. You also have to remember this is completely normal. Acne isn't the end of the world. And as long as you're actively taking care of your skin and just being an overall healthy human being, then you shouldn't stress, because eventually it is going to pass. Now, if you do want some hygiene essentials that will not only help with acne, but just overall make you a more attractive person, and here's a video to show you exactly that.